What is up, everyone? Welcome to Wednesday Night is Overbooked, hosted by me this time around. That's right, no more simulcasting for a little bit. So let's go around the horn and say hello. To my stage right would be Brad, Duke Devil 95. How are you, sir?
Barely awake, but caught up and actually got to see Crown Jewel this weekend. So
Nice. And directly under him, we have the rehab refugee, Matt. Not that type of rehab. He's in physical therapy rehab, although you wouldn't know it from his
Yeah, there are plenty of drugs here. Plenty of drugs. Now, sometimes not enough drugs, but there's plenty of them. Maybe not enough drugs to watch some of those matches this weekend. So I would.
There is that. And then we have to round it out. We have LeftEyeEgo. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Caught up on some Crown Jewel 2 and have some takes on my girlfriend Jade Cargill. Jesus.
Oh no. But before we get to that, let's look at the chat real quick. We had Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips, and he started this at like noon today. Let's go, Joker. Thank you very much, sir. We have, of course, Jacob Ironside rocking the wrench right there. We have Ladonis Dragonstorm. He was on last week with Roman of the Empire. Very cool guy to chat with. White Bear. Hey, Joker, just out celebrating and figured I'd stop by and congratulate on hosting. Yes, rocket and smile. Oh, I love to smile. It's my favorite thing. Not really. And then Jason Fox. That's where we got right now. So if you're in the chat, cool. Keep on watching. And Brad dropped out for a second, but he'll be back. Okay. So first order of business is we had a premium live event this past weekend from Riyadh in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Mania. This was 7 matches as
Saudi Mania.
This was a 7-match card as opposed to the typical 5-match card for premium live events. Apparently the Saudis wanted to get their $50 million worth. Matt, I know you're on a limited time here, so your thoughts on the show overall, and favorite and least favorite matches.
Well, I only saw clips of the matches. It was hard to get, like on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I didn't see the whole matches yet. My general sense is obviously this is in the Saudi verse, so to speak. So you got to think of an out of continuity event. I mean, you're gonna laugh, but the Saudis aren't doing this really to make money because they're like Scrooge up. They're just swimming in it. They're doing this basically because they want their custom pay-per-view and they can afford it. And so the crazy thing is, I mean, for all the problems in the Middle East, the Saudis do spend their money on their people. So they gave them a gigantic wrestling event, and yeah. So as far as the events in of the matches, probably the biggest thing is would be Liv, as we said before, setting up the eventual heel turn. That's pretty big. Liv is still a placeholder for that belt, although if Rhea's going to be out for a while, like 3-4 more months, it might be worth dropping it on. If you say Joker, putting on EO or someone who could, really, I don't know. I mean, Liv makes sense as Rhea's villain, but no one else is right now.
Right, and then we'll talk about, we'll talk about the women's division later on now in the show. But so a match that you particularly liked, or what you saw.
For the clips I saw, Gunther Cody was a very good match overall. Just because Gunther's probably a top 20 in the world wrestler right now. Cody can elevate to that when he's with the right guy.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know. He has a habit of mailing it in lesser matches and doing the same sort of routine, you know. Well, someone else finally called it out. Like, I, I was watching a clip a couple days ago of someone else's review of Crown Jewel, and they have to stop the stupid thing in WWE where everyone's finisher gets kicked out of like 5 times before the match is over, and where everyone's like ultimate inescapable hold gets escaped 5 times in a big match or whatever. You know, so that's just protecting the moves more. You know, so
Right.
you know that's kind of what I'm thinking about the events of the Crown Jewel. You know. Now, will Cody be the Crown Jewel champion, and will he face off against someone else next year to see if they're, how are they going to work that? You know, so
I have no clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
Just as good as mine.
Ego, your thoughts?
Overall, I think it went a bit long. Do you want to spend your money on good tight matches, or just say you have a good number when 2 of them could be throwaways?
Let me combat that with this, because the time frame, it was about a regular premium live event. So actually, for a 7-match card, the show was actually paced pretty well. You did have Randy Orton who took 7 years to get down to the ring, but other than that,
yeah, I mean, it's not so much timing. It's just the 2 that I thought weren't really necessary, honestly, were the women's tag match, even though it was more surprising than I thought, and Randy KO. Like, that could have been your war games, right?
It could have been a Survivor's.
There we go. Survivor something. Sorry, Survivor Series. Yeah.
Now the women's tag women's tag match, that was a last minute thing, because it was supposed to be a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley, but Rhea's out.
Okay, she's out. Okay, so I would
for that match, and to replace, instead of replacing that match with the tag, they should have just flew in like Roxy Perez and then someone to have an NXT Women's Championship match or something entertaining.
Yeah, maybe something. Yeah, it just for the numbers, I was like, it mentally ran long for me. That's all.
Okay.
Overall, it was all right. I will say the matches. There were actually 2 matches that surprised me, and that was the women's tag match that was added at the last minute, and the first match was just Bloodline versus Bloodline. The women's tag match surprised me just because they actually hit really good spots. I'm sorry, everyone hit really good spots, but fucking Bianca. I'm tripping.
Jade.
I'm sorry. Like, it was, everyone else looked like they were units working together. Even the NXT call-ups, we didn't know who the hell they were. They worked well. Bianca did well. Io did well. And the
Io
fact
always does well.
Oh, she does well. That's what I'm just like, it was all that. I'm looking at people in their spots and I'm like, damn, why can't Jay get it together? I will say the thing that was really good was the fact that each one sold the terror in their eyes when the other one was about to do a big move. Be it a superplex, the missile drop kick, they'd be like, oh, before they get dropped, you're like, okay, you're really trying to sell what they're trying to do, even if it's a minor move, the finisher, whatever. Like, first with Jade, her hair is all in the way, so I can't see if you're actually going to sell the move on your face. And then on top of that, I'm seeing the same 3 or 4 moves that you do, and I'm seeing Io doing a moonsault out of the ring, and I'm like, you're just doing power slams and flexing. This is annoying as hell that I'm seeing NXT call-ups that have more stamina, can sell the moves, and are actually doing tandem moves with the partners that they have in the developmental stage of this. And you've been with Bianca for what, 7-8 months now? And
getting there.
You look like you're just barely together. You can't pull off tandem moves. The stamina's not there, and Bianca's having to bail you out in spots.
Well, she got carried in AEW for like 2 or 3 years.
I know. I expected to see some level of improvement with a tag team partner. I know that at some point you're supposed to help in what they lack, but she didn't. But that was that one. Bloodline versus Bloodline. That was fun. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I was going to say, Ego, is the problem is they never should have taken Jade out of the box. You don't unbox your action figures if you want them to have value. So she's lost all value now that she's out of the box.
That is fair, and that's the problem I have is like everyone else out of the boxes can do the action in the action figure. Jade's the action figure that doesn't stand up and can't pose. It's like this weird ass statue that just sits at an angle, and you think it's gonna fall, and you want it to fall, you really do, but it's just standing up there, and you're like, just fall so I can either get a new one or fix it. But yeah, OG Bloodline versus Bloodline was fun. I didn't think it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like, why am I even watching this? You could have put this for the next PLE, but they built up to it because they showed that just because you put the team back together doesn't mean it's gonna be seamless. I like the frustration. I like Sammy trying to do the hell of a kick and then knocking Roman Reigns. I was like, oh, this is good. You're showing frustration and we're building towards something. So those were
best part. The best part of that match was the after match.
Yes,
that was the best part.
Yes.
Well,
so I mean,
I don't know if you guys know this, but they're trying to let Roman be popular without face turning him. If you catch what they're trying to sneak in, because when he came back, he got such a buzz, right? So he's like Venom or the Punisher now. You know what I mean? They're trying to keep him in that sort of like honorable bad guy area, anti-hero type
in betweener.
Thing. Yeah,
in betweener.
Because he still has storylines as a heel to go through that they don't want to lose.
Right.
I got some of that when the Usos were doing their old Uso moves, and he's just sort of looking at them like, he's giving got kind of like side eye, like, what are you guys doing? I don't like this crap. Just kind of annoyed.
Okay, now it's funny you mentioned that. When Jey Uso was doing his intro, did you see Roman's face was kind of like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And
That's us.
That's planned. This is all part of the storytelling. And Jey Uso got a bigger pop than Roman Reigns did.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that Jey actually outsold Roman Reigns, I think, and Cody Rhodes for merch this month? Actually, for this month. Yeah. So Brad, your thoughts on the show overall, and a match that stood out for you positively and negatively.
I thought the women's match was a little clustery. I did like Chelsea and I just forgot her name. Piper. I like them just owning the roles as like comedy. I think that works well in especially that type of match. Yeah, but comedy heels when you have that many people in there. Of course, Io and Kyrie. What do you want to say? Jesus Christ.
Right.
The Bloodline match, I thought it was good for the storyline. I think you were on point, and it really goes to setting up War Games, which we were talking about last week. Obviously, after Raw, we know Sammy's going to have tete-a-tete with OTC. I thought
hold on. We have a celebrity in the chat. Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Skull, my brother in chaos. Hello, my dear brother. Oh, so good to see you.
Welcome, man.
Loki is awesome. He has a show every morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Definitely check him out. Got a lot to say. Thank you, my brother, for showing up. Okay, Brad. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Let's see what else we have. We had, the women's match. It was what it was. The Crown Jewel. The cash in didn't happen. They're gonna string that out a bit longer. Liv actually did seem emotional about the whole thing. It was weird.
Yeah,
she was. Yeah.
The Kevin Owens, this is just storyline. That's all that was. I think they need to do it though to really make Kevin more and more bad, because it seemed they rushed the whole I'm upset with Cody thing. So they really have to like build it more. So I think that's a good way to go. And the crowd still got a 10-minute fight, even if it wasn't a match.
Sure.
I mean, geez, it was like a freaking brawl. Gunther and Cody put on a good show.
Yes,
you had good solid wrestling. Nothing to complain about it.
Those two are incapable of putting on a bad match.
It was just a completely professional job. Completely professional.
Right.
I do think the right thing was to have Cody win, since really Cody is the face of the company. And the face, you can't have Gunther, who is really a heel, be the first winner of Crown Jewel.
Right. And this also goes to, as I said, that I did not see the WWE because you had Nia Jax and Gunther in both Crown Jewel matches. They both won King and Queen of the Ring. So they're not going to book those two to win.
Okay.
Both of them.
Did I forget anything?
There was the LA Knight. There was the United States title match, and I'll talk about that match. I thought that match, bell to bell, was probably the best match of the entire night. And kudos to Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. This happens almost every time, but I forget how good Andrade is. Andrade is fucking amazing.
Well,
and
a whole bunch of those guys in the Latino World Order and the other one, whatever. They're better wrestlers than most of the guys actually getting pushes. And I mean, whatever. I mean, Santos Escobar is a really good wrestler.
He is.
And it seems, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't have enough like titles or whatever it is they need to do to get more of their talented guys. But then again, you want a viable mid card, right? Maybe it's because WWE doesn't show enough mid card on TV. They just, you know what I mean, cut down the promos and show more mid card matches.
That's possible. Now, I thought that was the wrong result, because really, LA Knight was just kind of shoehorned in to that match. I mean, those two. I mean, Andrade and Hayes carried that entire match. That match was those two. And now, however, the way it ended, the way it was executed was very good. So I've got no complaints with that. The worst match was Nia Jax and Liv. That was the absolute worst match. That match was boring. Again, I said this because she's the only exciting part right now on SmackDown. When Tiffany Stratton's music hit, that was the biggest pop of that entire match.
Yeah.
You can't watch, like, we just watched the 10-woman tag on NXT, for those of us who watched it. If you watch the NXT women's matches and watch WWE women's matches, you're going to be bored most of the time, unless Io and Kari or
hit a spot,
or who else? Piper and Amber, Chelsea. Who there's a small number of women at the top level, Tiffy, who could compete, and the rest of them are just less statuesque versions of Jade Cargill. They just stand there and don't do anything. Yeah.
So I had predicted that there would be a cash in, and because of what they did after the show with the ceremony, when the Crown Jewel champions gave back their belts and got their Super Bowl rings, I'm like, okay, that makes sense as to why there was no cash in, because you're not going to have Liv show up there and not have her world championship title belt and have Cody there with both of his belts. So that's just
fair.
My thoughts on that. But yeah, all of this is working toward War Games. The Bronson Reed Seth Rollins match.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Again.
Definitely
that match again. The wrong guy won.
Yes.
If you're looking to, in my opinion, if you're looking to build a superstar in Sheik, Bronson Reed, this was not the way to go.
But interesting the way Seth put him over, though, at the end.
Right.
It did set up Monday Night Raw, though. And, like, I don't know if you guys caught it. If I were home, I would have clicked this. The greatest look of fear on someone's face I've seen in years. Was it Dominic Mysterio when he looked up at Bronson Reed climbing the ropes?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that fear in the original Godzilla when the woman would shelter her child and looked up at Godzilla about to step on him. You know?
Right.
You know? Like they have built Bronson Reed up to be literally Godzilla. They need to
Everyone else is Tokyo.
To how they used to you remember when Brock and Undertaker were like just walking around randomly chokeslamming people through windows and shit? They just started letting like Bronson Reed do that. Like oh look, there's a production truck and just tsunami slam the production truck and a guy fly out the windows. Because he's over the top in such a good way right now. Like it's hard to get that kayfabe. Like you remember when fans were all for when he did the tsunami slam on Strowman on top of the car.
Yes,
and
that was badass.
even you know it's 100% fake because you could kill some guy that way. But it's so over that you're into it. You suspended it. They've managed to find a way with Bronson Reed to suspend your sense of disbelief. You know what I mean? And they got to run with it. You know, they got to run with it to make money on it.
It has a very much attitude feel.
Yeah,
old time attitude feel. The way they're pushing him and the way he's acting.
Okay, but for those folks out there who are saying that the Attitude Era is back, no, it's not. It's not. It's just
the monster, monster idea.
Kayfabe, the old kayfabe kind of died. Mid 2000s or whatever. You know, and then it became like sports entertainment and all that. They've managed with Bronson Reed to catch a tiger by its tail or whatever the saying is. Run with it,
Definitely.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought of the United States Idol matches. That was a clear showing of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. LA Knight is sports entertainment.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're gonna run with LA Knight until like he's no longer like selling as much as he is, so to speak, merch wise and all that.
Yeah.
Did Joker freeze or did he go into a coma?
I think he had an internet.
Has he entered a Zen-like state to repel the Attitude Era?
I should have mentioned it. It froze him.
Well, I'm sure he'll figure it out. Well, the stream is still going, so it's got to just be him, But there's a slow, whatever. I mean, they have some good stuff to work with in WWE. They just got to work with the right way,
Fair point. He's out, but I guess he'll hop back in.
But honestly, I think I don't think there's much else to say about Crown Jewel. I mean, I was just surprised it actually played in more to storylines than I expected it to. That's about it, really.
But I still think it's in the Saudi verse, and
it's like
Saudi event? Is there another Saudi event too, or is this just Crown Jewel?
I think this is only once a year.
I thought there was another one. Wasn't there one year there were two Saudi events?
I thought it was always Crown Jewel.
King and Queen of the Ring.
Thank you. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm back. Okay, so all of this went into the Monday. Now, as we saw, talked about a few little storylines going forward. Sammy with the Usos going to go talk to Roman on Friday. But something else happened, and this came in regards to the women. Now, the women's division for the WWE has just been racked with injuries this year. I mean, they've had some of the worst luck. You got Asuka, who is out. Charlotte is due back. Dakota Kai, no one cares. And Rhea again is out with an injury. It's her right orbital bone, which she cracked the week prior in a headbutt spot. So she is out indefinitely.
Damn.
So what they did is, I'm hoping, at least the stands, I'm hoping that they are not married to this idea that Rhea and Liv has to end at Mania, and it has to be for the title. This feud is on fumes now. The feud is on fumes. So what they did.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, go ahead. Go ahead.
So what they did is they had a 12-person battle royal, which is basically the entire Raw roster, with the exception of a few people there, to crown. This was an over-the-top battle royal Rumble style, where both feet have to hit the floor, and a number one contender came out, Io Sky.
Yep.
Now I drew out this whole thing here because I think that the WWE is married to two ideas for Mania, and another reason we did not see a cash in at Crown Jewel is they are married to the idea of Tiffany and Charlotte. I think that's an idea that they're married to, and I think they're also married to the idea of Bianca and Jade. Bianca better be doing a lot of squats and get that back workout in, because she's going to be doing a lot of carrying in that match. So I'm just saying. So they also teased Raquel and Liv challenging for the women's tag team championship. Now this, to me, is kind of interesting because you could put the belt on Io, because as I have said, most of the short lists for the Royal Rumble had Io either on their short list or to win the Rumble. So if that was always the plan, okay, you could put the belt on Io, just bypass the Rumble because she's already done a battle royal to win, and then have her main event at the Mania against who knows. You can now tease Liv and Raquel because it's already started. That planting that little seed of doubt in their head. This eventually leads to the breakup of Jade and B, which thank God it's overdue. Fair. And then you can have the Bianca and Jade at Mania. You then can have, whenever Rhea comes back, let's say Rhea comes back at the Rumble, you have Liv and Rhea eliminate each other. You can blow off this feud at a Mania match where there's no title at stake, and you still get your feud ending match between Liv and Rhea. Anyone have any thoughts or any additions to?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Just you don't need the title. Rhea and Liv's feud is honestly irrelevant to the title at this point. The title is nice. We all think of Rhea's title because she was doing so great as a champion, but really the issue is she got to come back, tear up a bunch of people, get it back into with Liv, and finally after 4 years now, defeat Liv Morgan in a match.
Correct.
Yeah, I think at this point, it does certain things don't have to be for a title. I would like to see Jade versus Bianca for a women's Intercontinental Championship, just to give it some kind of stakes outside of a breakup. But that's just me on it, to put some kind of stakes on it. But yeah, I think if you put Io as a champion, I'm perfectly fine with that. You can always have someone coming back from injury saying, it should have been me, start a feud, whatever. You can still have the matches you want. It's just, it's not going to work right now because the people you want to be in are injured. So go with the favorite, the person that's got in good talent, hits good spots, and people can actually see her being champion and run with that. Are you saying like Raw or SmackDown? She's
and
over.
she's
Yeah,
over.
yeah. We're talking Raw or SmackDown champion. I'm sorry.
She would be going for the Women's World Championship that is on Raw.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
And
yeah.
this is why in the WWE draft that they drafted the entire faction of Damage Control from SmackDown
same time
to Raw to
Yeah.
compete and to win championships because
no problem with
at
that.
the time Rhea had just burned through the entire women's roster there.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's no
you
credible challenge.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then you got to kind of reset. I mean, honestly, even though it's unfortunate, it kind of helps that she's out. So it's like, well, hey, you're coming back from something instead of like, hey, you already cleared out the division and we've already seen you beat the people. So yeah, okay. That works. Yeah. Put the belt on EO. I'm okay with that.
Also, remember, by the time Mania rolls around, we'll see some more NXT call-ups, probably maybe Roxy Perez, one or two others, and some more of these, I don't have to say it this way, lower talentless alleged female wrestlers that they have are going to be off TV entirely,
Maybe.
So, well, I mean, how much could you put, like,
Maxine
or Ivy, was that name Ivy, the evil counterpart from Chad Gable's statement, or
American Made,
or Valkyria, or all these people like Isla Dawn, I mean, other than how Isla Dawn's attractive, but that's about it. That's all she had going for her,
right?
Like you, and then the next wave comes up after that with Julia, Roxy, Stephanie Walcour, and all. At some point Jordan Grace is involved in all this.
Yeah. Wait, I have a question. Do you think that with the influx of women's NXT talent, they're going to have to come up with an additional belt outside of the tag team titles? Like, do you see them being forced to do that, or just really okay? Because it's actual time. Okay. Why do you think that though?
I think, as much as I don't like the tag team title, I think they're here to stay. I don't like them. I think they're kind of.
It's a money thing. Well, when you look at what they do, it's always about money and mark, right? And I mean, look, I will watch a beautiful, attractive woman wrestle all the time, right? Or even even not beautiful, attractive women wrestle all the time. But I like women. I like wrestling. But like, the reality is, except for the top 5 women, so to speak, the rest of women wrestling isn't even 5% of the draw. I mean. Like when you got LA Knight who out mercs and outdraws like 95% of the women wrestlers, that tells you the state of the business,
Gotcha. Okay. I was did not know that. Understandable.
And then throw in the fact that we have a whole generation, there's several generations of WWE women who came up in the old system who just can't physically compete with what these women who came up in New Japan and the lucha systems they have to go like I mean I've seen Julia and Stephanie Walcour and Chelsea and Piper wrestle in indies for years, and they're going in slow motion compared to most of these other women just to not make them look bad,
Correct.
I'm sorry to derail the conversation, but is there anything different that they are taught in New Japan versus like people that are in traditional wrestling schools in the United States?
It's just a different style. It's just a different style. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but Japan is like strong style, so it's like a lot of strikes. Whereas
strong style is so there's two styles you get to come out of Japan, like a Japanese classical wrestling, right, and which has athletics and stuff. But then strong style is usually the wrestlers who also are part-time mixed martial artists. So when they do their matches, they know how to like spar for real in the ring. So it looks like they're actually hitting each other, but not at MMA levels,
right?
So like Shinsuke Nakamura, I think his MMA record is like 5-1 or something like that, So so that's kind of what that mean by strong style, right?
And then in the Brits you have catch wrestling, which is more holds and the whatnot,
Yeah.
more of mat wrestling.
Okay.
Like every continent, let's say, has a sort of classical catch style of wrestling that they have, and then they have their like additional like strong style or in lucha style or whatever else it is, you know. And the big difference here is that in those other countries, they don't. If you can't compete, you don't make money for them, so they just fire you.
Right.
So
I see.
I mean, Stephanie Wakur literally, like, there's no wrestling in Chile, right? So she wanted to be a WWE superstar. So she illegally immigrated to Mexico when she was like 16.
Yep.
And like went all in the training, and like with no health care or nothing. And luckily she didn't die or anything. And and that's so. Like, you guys watch Lucha Underground, though, right?
Yeah. Check it out if you get a chance.
Ego's thing.
So Lucha Underground is the performance level of what you expect in lucha style wrestling.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you hear me say that, like in WWE, they're constantly pausing to wait for the other person to do their move. That will never happen in Japan or AEW or lucha style, because that's considered like they won't let you wrestle if you do that all the time. You have to be able to flow with some, so it looks real. You know what I mean? Like,
So Brad, your thoughts on the racked women's WWE scene?
When you say racked, you mean like
injuries and just
main roster. The problem is there's so few women that actually are able to put on a good match. I mean, there's not much left. I mean, it wasn't a large division to begin with. Supposedly Alexa's coming back probably early next year.
Right. And then but her entire storyline is
in the 6.
Yeah, it's so I don't care.
I mean, who's even over there? I mean, is Becky coming back? We don't even know.
She will. She's just enjoying time being a mom right now. And credit to the WWE for not hounding her, because they could have easily been on the phone going, dude, we need you back. Like, we need you back last week.
So I'm just looking here. I'm looking at the list off Wikipedia. It looks like there's 20 women in the women's division on Raw.
Well, I think Triple H has seen how much the wrestlers love the AEW contracts, where they don't have to wrestle 300 days a year of insane numbers anymore. Can get time off and all that. And now, so I think we're going to see more and more of that and wellness in WWE contracts. So that,
So, but I'm just looking at the list.
So it's less of a grind.
Hey guys, I got to drop, guys. So
okay,
right, Matthew.
All right, man.
Okay, everyone, his link is down below. Check him out. Hello, Love It. Also another wrench.
Stay strong, guys.
Hey, Love It. What's going on?
Hello, Love It.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list here, and there's not much that's exciting.
No, and
it's not at all.
Here's a wild idea. What's so wrong with being a valet manager? What's so wrong with that?
That's what Scarlett is.
Scarlett, the B-Fab.
I'll tell you what's wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong in the current environment.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But before that, we're going to have a word from our sponsor. And the sponsor is you guys out there in the chat. So
I say you better subscribe or we'll bash in some skulls, right?
Thank you, Harley, for jumping in there. So make sure you like and subscribe everyone's channels. All their links are down below in the description. I jumped the gun on that one, but hey, it's all good. So yes, Brad mentioned the current environment, and last week on Raw, there was some hubbub over a line said by Carlito, where there was a segment where Kairi Sane and Io were in the office of Adam Pearce, and they left speaking their native Japanese. Well, Carlito then walked in, gave them the once over, and then said, "Oh, I need to learn Chinese. I need to learn Chinese." That sent the IWC, the soft, woke, snowflake fans, into an uproar, saying Carlito needed to be canceled for his racially insensitive remarks. Now, this is something all of us in the chat and on this panel, we've all dealt with this. We've been dealing with this for the last, since 2019, practically.
Further.
More or less, yeah.
Right. But you get, I'm sorry, 2016. 2016.
Yeah.
2016.
That's when it came to prominence. That's when
So-
it
Fair
really
enough.
started.
The cancel culture. Now, this is an innocuous line. It's said by someone who is booked to be an idiot.
Yeah.
To which, afterward, I believe it was Fightful, got someone to talk to Kairi and Io, and again, they're Japanese. They don't do the woke shit. They don't they were like, "What's the big deal? He's a moron."
Don't you understand? He's being racist.
They were like, "Huh? What?"
It's just fun. It's just I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
Right.
I'll go down.
Now-
I'm not gonna say it. No, stop.
Probably for the
Now-
best.
And now all of this is starting to show up in the journalism class. It's not so much from the product itself. However, there are talent out there that if you say something negative about them, they get a little uppity. Your girlfriend's one of them. I'm just saying, they're ego. But this also comes from the streaming community, not folks who do this type of streaming, folks who do like who watch Raw or NXT, and they've got their live stream going on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. I've experienced this where I have said, Jade is overrated. And when they were talking about Lash Legend of the metaphor, and I said, "Oh, you mean trash legend?" Because the metaphor is a trash gimmick. I'm just saying. And I get the stop the hate comments directed at me. Yet, if Tiffany Stratton appears on screen, all of a sudden that chat that I'm watching in real time, I see it's Stiffy time, and I'm like, oh, so objective criticisms not allowed, but objectifying a 25-year-old woman saying she gives you an erection, that's okay.
The answer is yes, because the side that practices this type of cancellation, whatever you're gonna call, are a bunch of effing hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
The side that screams racism most often are a lot of times racist themselves.
And this is also the streamers
Mhm.
who want in their community, and everything is
Keep the community safe. Safe
It's
space community.
overly positive.
Mhm.
Overly positive.
Would you say it approaches like Disney Shield level positivity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because they're so afraid to offer criticism because their chat might cancel, because their chat might get upset, or they're trying to gain a sponsorship. As I saw one of them who someone in their chat asked them, what's their favorite energy drink. And he says, I can't say that on stream because I'm trying to get a sponsorship from another product. And I'm like, so you're admitting you're a sellout. You are an absolute shill.
I'm sorry. Just for a newbie's point of view, who the fuck are these people? Do they have a group name?
Yeah.
They go by a name? What's the name?
I don't know these. I'm just calling them
afterward.
I'm just going to say, I did not know there was a WWE shill streams like going on. I mean, for what I normally watch, for what I try to do videos on when I have time, the genre stuff. I mean, I know the shills. I watch Mr. Grizzy. I see the people from Marvel. I see it for Star Wars. I know these people. I didn't know there was this going on for WWE.
Oh yeah,
for AEW. I mean, it makes sense.
What is their name, first of all? Because I didn't know this.
Well, he's not going to name them on screen. He's going to name them off.
I am not going to call them out here.
Okay.
I will let you know after the show.
I appreciate it. I will just say, based on what you told me, they sound incredibly disingenuous. Okay. I have a meme when I know someone's being disingenuous, and it's a soccer player, so it has international flavor. He's doing something like "Get out of here," and the meme says, "Shut your bitch ass up." So I would say to them, "Shut your bitch ass up." You sound completely disingenuous.
Now talking
she's
about
not going to sleep with you, bro.
Now talking about actual, or you're not going to get, or the WWE is not going to invite you to a media scrum so you can sit next to. So you can sit next to Sean Ross Sapp or Denise Salcedo
or Meltzer.
Or Meltzer, which Now, speaking of actual racism, somebody last week opened his mouth and said something stupid. Really stupid. I'm going to share this right here. We're going to do this really quick.
I thought you said you weren't going to talk about what I said anymore.
Oh. Well, you know, I changed my mind on this. So
I don't know what I say sometimes.
Here we are.
Oh God.
Bobby Lashley had some ideas for a potential feud with Gunther. Now keep in mind, Bobby Lashley has also said that he got along better with Vince McMahon than he does Triple H. I wonder why. So this is the quote that he said from the Lame Guys podcast. When Gunther was rolling, there was one thing I wanted to do with him, and everyone would have been, and like, ooh, if we were still the Hurt Business. I was like, I want to roll up on him, and I want Gunther to say, people like you don't deserve a chance at my title. People would have been, and like, what did he say? We would have towed that line. If you think about the German, Austrian, and these black dudes, is there a bit of racial tension here? We didn't have to go there. What do you mean, people like you? He could be like older guys in wrestling. The crowd would have been, did he say that? Then I was going to say, I think you look familiar, and do one of these. Hold a thumb up to his top lip, indicating a mustache. There it is. I don't know if we could have went there, but if we could have, there are so many things that you could toe the line with here, and it could have been a huge feud.
Bobby Lashley is not Jesse Owens.
Dear God in heaven, this is why.
Literally,
that's a good one.
He's bringing up something from 90 years ago. And actually, it's fine that he calls him German, even though he's Austrian, since Little Mustache Guy also was Austrian.
Correct.
And should have just kept being a comic book artist or whatever. But I mean, Bobby Lash, holy fuck, man! I'm like, did you just want him to be a Nazi?
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's like, I want Gunther to be a Can I say? I don't even know if I can say it.
Yahtzee.
National Socialist.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Christ. Historically accurate terms. I can't even say legal terms I use in court on YouTube because it's offensive, even though I could say it in a legal setting in front of a jury. It's amazing. I love this world.
Now, it's interesting that Triple H, when Bobby's contract was over, said we have no creative plans for you going forward. I wonder why.
Because we didn't want to do World War II.
So,
God.
okay.
Oh my God, we could have a PLE at Normandy.
So, Ego, I hate to because you are a
Half blind.
Yes.
A half blind man.
Doctor?
I want to know, as a half blind man, how does this come across to you?
I believe the saying is better to be silent and be considered a fool than to open your mouth and prove them right. That's all I'm saying. I'm just like, you really should have kept that inside.
Okay.
Don't ever bring that out. You could have said anything else and people would have been like, you know what? They would have maybe thought, okay, that could have worked. You know, you could have done, he's aristocracy and I'm from the dirt. You know, like he went to all these prestigious wrestling schools and
like Gunther
does to make my what? Yeah,
like Gunther does.
He's actually doing kind of like a Hunter Hearst Helmsley thing in a way.
Yeah, it works. You know, there was the whole
stuck up European prick.
Right, that worked. Like you could have done USA chants. No one doesn't say USA when you start chanting USA. It's built into the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So there were 3 other ways you could have taken this, and you chose the worst one from 80 years ago. And you're just like, he's Austrian, and it's like there's no one that would really be willing to play that character,
right?
You know, unless it's a biopic and it's A24 Pictures, and you might get an Oscar for your portrayal. No one's gonna sign up to directly be directed to that guy.
I think the way this could have built this up, and we're going to build this to a PLE in the Ardennes Forest. It's called Battle of the Bulge, and we build it up with Bobby Lashley being thrown and locked in a shower.
Yeah, that would go.
My God.
Or locked in a train car.
That is exactly why they said no.
Or being forced to have a tattoo on his arm.
Yeah,
I swear this. Yeah,
I mean, seriously, that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
the problem is that we're not laughing because you're wrong. We're laughing because, like, if he kept talking, that's probably what he would have taken it. And I'm just like,
the only thing he didn't do is say, "Let's bring Donald Trump back as Gunther's manager."
And, and to be quite honest, from what I heard in this podcast, Bobby's mannerisms, he was like excited as he is describing this idea he had, and oh God, it's just awful.
Some people really get off on racism,
and some people. This is why, and Matt said in our private chat, this is why some wrestlers have managers to do the talking for them.
Some can't talk, and some say dumb shit.
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's like, hey, let your lawyer talk for you. The client, shut up. Let me talk for you.
Yes, please
exactly.
Stop. Please.
That's what you're paying me for.
Stop talking. Stop talking, really. Okay, so that's kind of the news. Now it's time for the staple of this show, and that is the top 5. And we are going with the top 5 worst Intercontinental champions in WWF, WWE history. A belt that used to be prestigious, used to mean something, and got turned into a joke for most of the Attitude, Ruthless Aggression, PG eras, a good 20 plus years. So, starting with
how do I spell Gunther again?
I'm going to spell it. So,
Macho
Ego.
spelled how? Oh, sorry.
So, Ego, I'm going to start with you. Your number 5.
Number 5. It's weird because it was when it was Chris Jericho versus China, and it ended in a double pin, and they considered both of them Intercontinental champions. It lasted for about 3 weeks.
So the
it seemed like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know if they say that they recognize. The thing is, when you check it out, I think they said
They don't recognize
as
it.
vacant. Yeah, which is weird.
Right.
So I'm just like, so why waste it on them? I know that the heat they had with the vignettes and Chris Jericho hitting her with the hammer on the thumb, that was a whole big thing. But for it to do all end in like a double pin seems like a complete waste to me. So that's why I gotta put that on there.
Yeah. So you're going with the Jericho China combo.
Yeah, that was terrible. It was
Okay.
it was 3 weeks too. That's awful.
Mr. Brad, you're number 5.
I'm going back to when WCW first got bought, and one of the first of the invasion was Lance Storm,
Okay.
who is a technically great wrestler,
Yes.
but may literally be watching paint dry on the wall boring.
Waste of talent. A complete waste of talent.
Yeah. Again, maybe someone who could have used a voice for him. He held it for less than 30 days, and I think that was it. I get what they're trying to do, trying to bring some prestige to someone coming in, but it's still just like it went nowhere, and he went nowhere in the WWE.
Correct. And as I said, because at the time, the WWF already had a Canadian technical wizard who had.
Are we allowed to say that anymore?
Who had chronic sour puss face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as I'll go. So
And head issues.
A few. So my number 5, Ego, I'm sorry, Ricochet.
Wow.
The answer to the trivia question: who did Gunther beat to become Intercontinental?
Son of a bitch! Are you serious?
Yeah,
that was unfair. That's unfair. That is. Oh my god, that's so unfair.
Well, it fits for Gunther's character being,
That
Austrian and a racist.
Right, of course, exactly.
That should have been
unfair.
Bobby Lashley.
That was. I would have understood if he'd be Bobby Lashley in Intercontinental. But for Ricochet, that is so unfair. Okay, but go ahead. Stack was against him on that one.
Okay, so our number 4, Ego, you're number 4.
I'm going to go with Jeff Hardy in 2001, simply for the fact that they were celebrating him being the youngest wrestler ever to get it at the age of 25, I think. Only for him to lose it like a week later to Triple H.
Okay, so so what that was, Jeff won the belt on Thursday Night SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then lost it on the following Monday Night Raw.
It's like 5 days?
If that.
I don't understand. I don't understand celebrating something so important only to lose it within a week. Right. That's all. It doesn't make them terrible. It's just, what was the point to celebrate something so huge if they lose it a week? That's all.
Mr. Brad, you're number 5.
I'm going with Ahmed Johnson.
Ooh, wow.
Bro, I was going to put him on my list.
So when you look on paper and look on screen, late 90s Attitude Era, this is a Vinnie Mac dude. This is a Vinnie Mac dude. Problem, he's got the look, he can't talk, and he can't wrestle for shit.
Nope.
So he does have the distinction being, I think, the first black Intercontinental champion. But he thankfully went away pretty quick. I think he was gone in about 1.5 years or something.
Yeah.
And he's done nothing since because he could not wrestle. But he looked great. I wonder, wait, is there anything else I can think of where someone has a really good look? I can't wrestle.
You know, right? Yeah, because
Ego, could you help me?
Because
I'm not gonna.
Because I believe.
Did I telegraph that too much?
I almost fell for it. Nope, don't do it. He's a lawyer.
Like, wait, you got to be catching on.
Nope. He puts me in traps. He's a lawyer.
And as far as Ahmed goes, I believe he was in a match with Farouk and Ron. Real life couldn't stand the man. Couldn't stand him because he was so bad in the ring.
Ron Simmons knew how to wrestle.
Right.
And had character, could do mic work.
Right.
Good
Damn.
God.
So my number 4 is not the tandem, but China herself. There was a
Wow.
brief stint.
Okay.
There was a brief stint where China was the Intercontinental champion. It was during the Latino Heat angle.
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of thing. So just awful. I get it. You know, they were trying to push a narrative or something, but China never belonged more than a manager when it came to interacting with the guys. She should have just stayed right there, but it is what it is. All right, Ego, you're number 3. I'm surprised we have had no crossover yet.
And that's I guess the thing with Intercontinental Champions is because he changed hands frequently, and there are a lot of
especially during
the
the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression.
Hot potato champion, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Matt Cardona. Simply because
Mr. Chelsea Green.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at
I believe though his name is Zack Ryder.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
the internet champion.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, if you had to make your own show because you weren't getting any shine. Wait, woo 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 was his word?
Yeah.
Woo woo woo.
Son of a bitch. He stole that from Martin and Living Single. God damn it. Anyway. Yeah, I was like, if your status isn't that great, you make your own show out of frustration, you get put over, you win the internet championship, do a ladder match with Neville, who I absolutely love. I just did not market well at all. You beat him in a ladder match and then lose to the Miz the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And this is at WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, but he got his WrestleMania moment.
He did.
I mean, do you guys know of anyone else that got a WrestleMania moment and lost it the next day though?
Yes.
Go on. Wait, hold on.
Probably is, but I can't.
Okay, off the top of your head. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for you to have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps through the internet, get this large push, win a great ladder match because Neville's no slouch.
Nope.
And just to move lose it the next day, it's I guess you get your moment, but when I look for your title, I look for a title ring to go with it.
Right.
And so because of that, I got to put him at number 3 on here.
All right. Brad, you're number 3.
The Master of the Snake.
Oh, God, shut up. Oh, I remember that match. I remember that match, too.
I saw his name. I was going through, I'm looking at the list of Intercontinental champions because I have a lot of good ones in my mind. I'm like,
right.
Who are the, and I'm like, Santino Morello. Holy shit. And I started going back. I'm like, wait a minute. I read in the history.
He beat Umaga.
Yeah. No. You know what happened, right?
Yeah.
He was picked out of the crowd in Milan, Italy.
I was watching that.
It's like, and then of course he was. I mean, look, Santino's a fine comedy act, and we need comedy acts. I mean, when you think about it, this is like vaudevillian shows. So you're going to have the real strong man. You're going to have the people who put on real shows. And you have the comedy. Okay, so he's a good comedic act, but you literally put the belt on a comedy act who is a guy dragged out of the crowd. I mean, that's freaking Braun Strowman and Nicholas.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
All right. My number 3, again, in this mishmash of just ping-ponging the titles, is Test.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
A guy, it's basically who?
Yeah.
Who? So, yeah.
The ex of Stephanie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I remember
the ex, because they were really together. Ego, you're number 2.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Val Venus in 1999. It's just, he's the male version of the shame you feel when you talk about the divas back in the day. It's like the male version of that. You're like, it's the whole towel thing.
He's a bad Rick Rude. is what he is.
Yes.
Terrible Rick Rude.
He didn't have the body of Rick Rude.
No.
And he didn't. It was the
Hello,
whole
ladies.
Yeah, it's weird. It's Leisure Shoot Larry for those that remember when that video game came
Oh
out.
my God. What a great call.
You know,
Wow.
it's like when you're 13, you think it's like it's edgy and it's cool, and you're just like, this was weird. Why did we
It's
let
cringe.
this slide?
You watch it.
It's
now,
Oh
very
my God.
cringe.
I remember
It was-
Leisure Suit Larry, 8-bit graphic Leisure Suit Larry
Yes.
with the
yeah,
sex scenes being a square going up and down.
down. Exactly. Yeah. And so it's just like this is a throwback to a very another time that we're not supposed to understand, nor do we want to. And it's something you kind of memory hole with the divas. So
Well,
just like just for that.
And the Val Venus angle, his feud with Kai and Tai, the entire faction.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
when they're all, when it was like, what was it? He like had sex with the manager's daughter,
Niece.
niece or something. And then you had Kai and Tai. I forget who the manager was, but they had him tied down. They got the katana sword down. Oh, I mean, it was
Yes.
so
Cringe.
Terrible.
It's cringe.
cringe, racist, everything. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah, it's just
Look,
There
there
was
can
a
be
lot.
racist jokes which are funny, and then there's just straight out stereotyping, which is just cringy.
Right.
right. Yeah, it's just that's what it was. Yeah.
All right, Brad, you're number 2.
Again, I had to go back and look at some of the history, and I saw a name like, who the hell is Dean Douglas?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
Yep.
I know who Dean
Yeah.
Douglas is.
Yep.
Dean Douglas is a fucking affront to Shane Douglas, who was an ECW stalwart. He was a franchise player. He was one of the guys that made ECW.
Right.
And then he comes into WWE and they make him like a college professor.
Yeah.
And then how did he win the belt? It was like Shawn Michaels got jumped and they
By
just gave him the
Marine.
belt and he lost it 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
I'm like, you had a guy who's like a legit hardcore wrestler who was like a Paul Heyman dude and loved by ECW fans, and you give him this shitty ass gimmick. I mean, this is typical of like mid to really before the Attitude Era hit of Vinnie Mac just throwing shit against the wall, still with dumbass gimmicks that worked in the early 80s and weren't working in a reality world that was the 90s.
Right. Speaking of dumbass gimmicks from the 80s, my number 2, the Mountie.
Oh, I forgot the Mountie.
Whoa. Yeah.
Who had a
Wow.
feud with Bret Hart. Yeah, that went well.
Well, they're Canadian.
Right, exactly, of course. So yeah, the Mountie held the title less than Jeff Hardy did. He won it on a house show on a Saturday, lost it on the Monday Night Raw. 2 days. And wow, this is I'm hoping we get some crossover here for our number 1, or this is going to be
This could be weird,
Really
weird ranking.
I mean,
right. So Ego, your number 1 worst Intercontinental champion of all time.
Dean Douglas, man. I was looking at
There's
this
some
too.
crossover. There we go.
Yeah. Thanks for going inside. Yeah, it was just I think the fact that he was dubbed the franchise in ECW. He won the championship twice in a year. Like the World Heavyweight Championship in ECW twice in a year. And so you're thinking like, hey, this guy's up the franchise, once won the World Spider twice over, then a year for times frame. When he gets over to WWE, he could do something. And it turns out, well, Shawn Michaels gets beat up by a Marine. We're going to give you the belt, but then you're going to face Razor Ramon, who you've kind of had a semi-feud with, and you're going to lose in 13 minutes and 52 seconds, I think.
Shortest title reign ever.
Ever, right. So I was thinking, they tried.
Well, maybe the shortest Intercontinental.
Intercontinental. It was shortest Intercontinental, right.
Because I think Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania.
Fair point.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. He won
5
and then
minutes
lost.
and 46
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. So,
Go on, Ego. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, you come from a place like Extreme Championship Wrestling, Then they bring you over and they're like, hey, I know that you won a championship for being extreme, so we're going to turn you into a dean. And you're going to write on a chalkboard and lecture wrestlers. I get it. It's the early version of you just made the list.
Yeah.
He would give everyone grades.
But we already had the genius Lanny Poffo.
Right.
Right. So I mean, it's this weird space in between where no one really cares, and you're beefing with Razor Ramon because you gave him an MF grade for or CF for like colossal failure and it sets up feud. It's a weird transition when you're in WWE, and to lose within 20 minutes after such a build up in ECW and people seeing you on like main roster is an awful way to go. So I couldn't think of anyone else I'd put number one besides Dean Douglas.
All right, Brad, you're number one.
I actually went with China and Jericho.
Okay.
It's crossover.
Because, I was thinking about just going China because the whole pushing her as like to compete with the men, I thought it was dumb. She couldn't wrestle. Most of the guys that tried wrestling her were trying to carry the damn match. But the whole idea that they shared the belt. I mean, this is just the minute when Joker's talking about like how the belt was treated as a joke. This is complete diminishment of any authority, respect for the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
We have a double count out, double pin rather, double whatever, double pin to pin each other. Like, they're gonna share the belt. What is going on here? This is and I know Jericho and China had some good interactions, but I mean, for the belt itself, that's insulting, and that's why it's just the worst. Right. They couldn't make a decision. They came up with this dumbass decision.
I agree. All right, my number one, Curtis Axel.
Mr. Perfect Jr.
You have the son of Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Ooh. You give him a manager, Paul Heyman. You think this is a recipe for success? No. Wow. This was a colossal failure. And even though he held the belt for about 5 months, which is in this time frame a long time.
Yeah.
He never got over. Never. Nice. Not once. No pop. And again, you got one of the best talkers in pro wrestling history hyping you up, and you can't get over. There's a problem there. So yeah, for me, Curtis Axel was the worst. And actually, because of these number ones, we finally got some crossover that we can actually say we can actually
have some numbers.
Happen. So in third place with 5 points, Curtis Axel. In second place with 6 points, the Jericho China combo.
That's fair.
And at number one is Dean Douglas as the worst Intercontinental champion ever.
And the shortest.
And next week, we will go on the other side of this for the top 5 best Intercontinental champions. And I think we're going to have I think there'll be a lot more
robust
crossover over there.
Yes.
So, but in the meantime, I'm kind of a larger one right here. We're going to go. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that either. I'm just going to go back to this.
Enhance.
That's fine.
Enhance.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I'm playing around with this right now anyway. So, going around the horn here, Mr. LeftEyeEgo, what do you have coming up, sir?
All right, so on tomorrow, I will be with JV as well as Roman for our movie review of Solomon Kane, a underrated film. Actually, fantastic. I'll also be doing my live stream with Shiro at 6 p.m. Central, or 5 p.m. Central, I'm sorry, for Ordinary Games. You will hear about how I thought I was gonna die. It's
Oh.
the best way I can put it. But yeah, tune in on a Thursday and Sunday evening. And announcements to come for those.
Gotcha. And Mr. Brad Duke Devil 95, what do you have coming up, sir?
Tomorrow night, I will be on Static 2020's weekend pregame, which I think now starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That'd be 6 Pacific. I don't know what it is where he's in Arizona because they have a weird system and can't count votes.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird. But yeah,
Me
we
too,
are tomorrow night. We're doing a victory lap.
Oh yeah,
it is
Well,
a victory lap night.
What,
after
did something happen? Did something happen?
Yeah, something happened. Some people put some ballots in things,
Really?
and then a bunch of leftists had a giant cry fest.
Wow.
And then half of Hollywood has moved out of the country.
Wow.
Which is about time.
That's good.
Mark Hamill just like faded away, like in The Last Jedi, apparently. Yeah, he's not there. He's gone.
No,
That's the only evidence.
He's
That's the only evidence he's around.
No.
He turned into a Force Ghost.
No.
We're gonna have to find a new Joker voice. I don't know where we could find one.
Well, he's tired. James Gunn, if you need anyone, call me.
But otherwise, I will be re-recording my Doctor Who video because I apparently have forgotten how to record videos.
Oh, nice, fun.
Okay,
Did not turn on my sound for half of it. It's awful. Holy crap. Yeah, that's what happens when you have 2 hurricanes back to back and go on for vacation for a week and don't record for a month.
Yeah, it happens. All righty. And for myself, I, like Mr. LeftEyeEgo said, I will be on with Roman of the Empire tomorrow talking about Solomon Kane, a very underrated but very, very good film. As we're in the month of November, and Solomon Kane being called the Pilgrim, it makes complete sense.
Definitely.
Demons, magic, sorcery, Thanksgiving. Makes all the sense in the world. And I will be dropping another video this week. Not sure what yet, but until then, folks. And we also want to say, we will also want to extend our best to Matt, who is still
Definitely
on the mend. Thank you, chat, for being here. You guys are great. And until then, folks, have a great rest of your week. Keep talking, keep smiling, always have fun, and toodles.
And here we go.
Is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
We're still here and stream. I'm going to end